Whenever you think about old levels in Geometry Dash, usually the first thing that comes to mind is that they are kinda bad. Unfair gameplay, blind jumps, memorization, bugs, all these things make playing older levels quite annoying. However, there's something about these older levels that give them a unique charm. Most levels today are masterful works of art that people spend days creating. Concepts that seem impossible from a silly cube game made 13 years ago. But as we know, levels weren't always like this. Over the years and updates this game went through, it's only added the ability to become more creative. The further you go back, the more limited the creativity palette becomes. Less blocks, less features, less quality of life, making levels back then seems more simpler, reflecting from a simpler time of the game. But does this make them good? No. That's why in this video, I want to challenge myself to create a good 1.0 level staying true to the editor of 2013. To understand 1.0, we gotta play 1.0. So I found a APK file in the Internet Archive of Geometry Dash version 1.0. It should go without saying, don't download stuff off the internet like this. And if you do, do it at your own discretion. Here we have it, version 1.0. I'm running this off an emulator so it plays like garbage. But that doesn't stop me from one attempting jumper. Now the reason why I'm playing this is because I want to interact with the editor myself. I want to see what all you can do with the limited selection. And I do mean limited. This is everything the game had to offer back then. One thing that is noticeably different in this editor is the editor UI. I definitely take what we have today for granted because making anything with this is a pain and also super buggy. Also, this game file is broken. If I try to change any color, it crashes. I think the only positive thing I have to say about this version is whenever the ship hits an orb. The 1.0 editor is cool and all, until you realize that building a full level on a crashing emulator is literally impossible. I can't even change the background color without the entire game self-destructing. It seems like my 1.0 level is over before it even started. However, I'm not calling it quits just yet. If I can't build a 1.0 level in 1.0, then I'll just have to build it in 2.2. This might not seem fair, but it's the only option I got. So what I'll do to keep it true to the challenge is to only use what was available in the game during that time. This includes blocks and editor features. The song! Newgrounds wasn't added until 1.9, so we gotta use the GD classics. And out of the original 7, I gotta choose Polargeist. Personally, it's one of my favorites. With the song in place, it's now time to work with the triggers. There is only 2 triggers, the ground and background color. We don't got much to work with, so we gotta use the most out of what we got. And if we want this level to look good, then we gotta spend extra time with the colors and make them flow well with the music. There was no such thing as a pulse trigger back then, so we gotta improvise by making the pulse triggers the long way. We are able to make this pulse effect by stacking fade-ins and fade-outs with bright and dark colors. We are able to change the time between color changes by 0 to 10 seconds, so that's nice to have some control over the makeshift pulses. That last part I had to look up because changing the trigger settings in the 1.0 APK also crashed the game, so I hope my info isn't wrong. With the music and colors going great together, it's time to start with the gameplay. We know what people don't like about old gameplay, so that gives us the opportunity to learn from the past mistakes. One example is blind jumps. I want to keep everything on the screen as much as possible so it feels fair to play. Another is music sync. One thing I noticed while playing older levels is that people just made gameplay with music in the background. This doesn't go for all old levels, but it's definitely something I want to highlight. I want this level to flow with the music as much as possible. With all that stated, we have to start with the cube, because we can't change the starting game modes. And on the topic of game modes, There are only two, cube and ship. I want to use the ship at least twice in this level, so the gameplay isn't just cube. We also have gravity portals, which is great to help us change up the gameplay. It has some variety with the music sync. One thing worth pointing out is that the objects in 1.0 can only be pointed in 4 directions. This might make transitions hard to make smooth, but we do have the micro move button to fine-tune positioning, which will be an absolute lifesaver in making this gameplay flow smooth. On the second ship section, I have it so the ship changes different levels, and at the end you have the hold until you change into a cube. I also added block text, as a callback to the old levels having a bunch of these in them. The gameplay is done and I think it's a lot of fun. Now it's time for decorations. There is one problem with this. I want the level to play and look like a 1.0 level, not some low effort layout. So we are going to focus on structuring to make the level feel full, and use hollow spikes, chains, and beacons to give the level that dated feel. I used the hollow chains on the floating spikes and platforms, and if they were close to the structures, I just connect them with detail blocks that don't have collision. I used the beacons like indicators as well. The most innovative decoration I made in this level has to be the chain of portals I linked from top to bottom of the screen. I also made some kind of slab design in the second ship. It's kinda cool, but there isn't much to say about decorations, considering that there is only all but 5 things to choose from. I mostly just sprinkled them around to keep the level tasteful. The gameplay is done and the decorations are set, so I'd say the level is done. I made some tweaks here and there, but I believe she's ready to play. For a level this simple, I gotta name it something pretentious, like Ancient Antiquity. Building this level made me respect the early creators. It's easy to look back at 1.0 and call it bad, but when you are stripped of all the modern features, you realize how much effort it takes just to make a level look good and play decent. If you want to play it for yourself, the level ID is in the description, and let me know what y'all think of the level. Did I cook something up good, or is this annoying as the map packs? Anyway, please subscribe or share this video, and I'll see y'all later.